Anglers Extra.
And we're back at Veterans Field as we continue on the Anglers Extra pregame show. I'm Dan Duva with Pat McGee, and it's time for Duva's Dugout. It's been a while, Pat. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a long time.
And Duva's Dugout resurrected so we can have Pat McGee with us, of course, in his second stint in his second year as hitting coach here with Chatham. And talk about being back here. This is now year 2 of your second stint. What was it that brought you back to Chatham, Pat?
My wife. She wanted to come back, so Schiff had an opportunity. They had a coaching vacancy. They provided us with our own cottage, so it was a great scenario for my wife and kid to come out, and it just seemed like a perfect storm. Of course, I went away the first time because my wife was pregnant, so we took 2 years off, and it just seemed like the right thing to do.
And now your little guy's running around Veterans Field, and it's incredible how time has flown.
Yeah, he's a terrorist, but I enjoy it. He enjoys it. She enjoys it, and we look forward to it now. We have intentions to come back every summer.
Well, of course, and we'd love to have you. And your first summer was 2004, and then 2005, of course, was the breakout summer where Chatham produced 6 first-round draft picks, and of course, the top 3 pick, Evan Longoria. You worked a lot with him, and not a lot of people knew Evan back then, but something worked back then, and there was a reason why John Schiffner keeps asking you back.
Right. Well, the thing I like to say about Evan the most is when he came here, he wasn't a prospect, and Evan worked hard, and he turned himself into a prospect, as many of those guys did on that team, and we had a really good group and a lot of good players, and it's been a good experience, so I'm thankful to be here.
And now you have another crop, and next year will be another crop. And now you've, between the 2 stints here, and the 5 years the first time, now this is second year of the second time, so 7 teams that you've worked with. Guys on this team that you're working with. From my point of view, Chad Pinter seems like a heck of a player, and he's over at the hot corner, and maybe just a little bit of Evan Longoria in him.
Yeah, I think that, with all due respect, I think Chad's the best player we've had since Evan. A lot of people would argue Grant Green, but I think Chad's a much more complete player. Grant was a great hitter, but Chad does everything well. He plays defense. He hits the ball with authority. He's the complete package. He's a great kid. He works hard. Again, and he's not the only one. We have some different guys this year with more skill sets. It's nice to have an Adam Engel. We never have guys that can run, steal bases. So it's a nice mix, and again, these are top-notch kids. We've got a lot of good kids, and they're nice to be around, and they're fun to work with, so I can't complain about that.
And Schiff has talked about it a few times, and I know you just said to him the other day, and he said to me the other day, boy, this kind of feels like the old days. There's that kind of chemistry and that kind of talent with this group, and you look back and always compare to that 2005 team.
Right, it does, but also the reason it feels like the old days to Schiff is because we're winning, and we haven't won for a few years, so that makes it a lot easier.
and there's that balance that we always talk about, the development versus the winning. In your mind, and I know you and Schiff are on the same page with this, how do you articulate that, the developing of the players, sending them back to school versus coming up with the W's here?
Our philosophy is that if they get better, we're going to win more games. And I think that in this league, one of the changes I've seen over the years is that's no longer the majority of the league's philosophy. They want to win. They coach to win. They coach every game like it's the 7th game of the World Series. And all due respect to them, that's fine. That's their thing. But that's never really how we've operated here. However, we have taken a more college feel to it this year. More practices, more accountability. It's less about their draft status and their numbers and more about the Chatham A's and how we're doing as a team. And that if they buy into that, they'll get their numbers. So we've shifted a little bit. I think the kids have shifted a little bit. And as a result, I think we're having some more success.
And, of course, lots of time to go in this season. You're playing a Harwich team tonight that's done really well. You played extremely well against Orleans and then Brewster last night. You guys are, aside from one inning, the last 3 games have been probably among your best so far this year.
By far. The guys have played really good. They played well, really other than 2/3 of an inning against Orleans. So, that hurt. It stung. But the guys bounced back. They showed great character. For me, that was season check time. Guys could have easily folded. Last year, a game would have been 11-0 the other way around. So, again, it's testament to these kids' character, and I like the way they work, how they come every day to be coached, to play hard, and it's been good so far, so we got to keep it rolling.
For you personally, the happiness factor of being in Chatham, now your family is here, the team is doing well. You've got a comfort factor with this coaching staff, and you're sort of an elder statesman on this coaching staff now. And when you first came here, Matt Fincher was that guy. And now you're kind of in that position. It's got to be great joy for you.
Yeah, it comes full circle. Again, when I was here, I was learning. I was getting accustomed to the place. And not that I'm not still learning, I am. But there's kind of a role to be filled on each staff, and Matt Fincher showed me a lot of things along the way. As I've told you a number of times, John Schiffner, the reason we come back is he lets us work, he lets us do our job. I'm not going to move my family across country 3,000 miles to just throw BP every day and not work with kids and watch him do it all. So he creates an environment where we want to be here. And again, Chatham's a great place. I'm confident in what I do. I know that I have the information to make these kids better. Whether or not they take it, that's their choice. They can go back to their school and apply it, or they cannot. I can sleep at the end of the night when my head hits the pillow. So I didn't used to think that my first or second year. I thought I had something to prove, and you're finding your way. But, I love it here. Schiff loves having me here. He'll tell you that. If not, I will. So,
but the proof is in the numbers, and almost 30 guys drafted this year. 17 out of the last 20 years, a first rounder has been taken from this Chatham staff. So you guys are doing something right, and hopefully many more summers with Pat McGee here in Chatham to come. Thanks, Pat, and thanks for being in Duva's Dugout. It's been fun.
Thank you.
That'll do it from Diamond Side, and back upstairs to Guy Benson as the Anglers Extra pregame show continues.